Finally, our bye week is gone, but I there's a little ringtone that I like to hear that we like to hear. So let's play that ringtone real quick.
How about them Cowboys?
I'll tell you this, even with the bye week, the Cowboys still seem to make some great news. What do you think, Harvey?
So I guess I'll just come up front about it, right? Look, listen, OBJ, if you're out there, man, this is what I gotta say, right? We got the star on the helmet, man. Come on. Everybody wants to be a cowboy. I don't care what anybody says. What I need you to do is pack your bags. That's it. Pack your bags. Pack whatever you need because you ain't going nowhere once you get here. Get on that plane. Come to Jerry's world. Sign what you need to gotta sign. And let's go get another Super Bowl. Bottom line.
Man, it almost feels like that 1 year, right? You remember? Well, I mean, we were still young. I think we were probably like it was after the we lost to the 49ers in that conference in the conference championship in 1994. And the next year, I remember. I mean, we were in junior high. I remember that we were just talking about it. Oh, we're gonna get Deion Sanders. We're gonna get Deion Sanders, and it was crazy because I don't know if we helped manifest that, but for Deion Sanders went with the 49ers and they won their Super Bowl. Then the following year, Jerry stepped in and just picked up the phone. And I think he signed one of the biggest deals of in history, right? At that time, he made history with the deal that he brought Deion Sanders in. And he literally he gave us that jolt of electricity, that jolt of energy that the team needed. And he helped us. He helped the entire team, the morale of the team. He helped us on defense. And right now, the thing that with the Dallas Cowboys is that we have a red hot defense. And the crazy thing is that we're starting to get a lot of players healthy, right? Tyron Smith, if he comes, I mean, this is good. This is a good conversation to have. When Tyron Smith is healthy, is he going to play? I mean, I understand, if he comes in, I think he would need at least a week or two before he gets his feet under him. But I mean, there's so many key parts that are starting to fall in place. But can you imagine adding an OBJ, the guy who caught that famous catch over Brandon Carr back in well, oh man, I forgot the name of the stadium. Is it called Gillette Stadium? Anyways, it was at New York. That crazy catch. Can you imagine being able to lure OBJ, put that star in his helmet? What would that do to that? What would that do to our offense? That right now it seems to be working its way to be right there, just neck and neck with our defense. What do you think Odell could do for us ultimately?
So I think number one, defense.
Ultimately, just overall, what would OBJ do for us?
So I think number one is you have to respect him, right? That's the biggest thing is teams are going to have to respect him. Now, does that mean we double cover him? Maybe some under coverage over the top coverage. That and then you got to realize we got the Fergus shots, right? The Fergus shots, the Ferguson and Ender shot.
Love the names.
Right?
Love it.
The Fergus shot team. Maybe do you play them? On the left and right side and kind of up the middle. There's just so many dynamics that you can play with OBJ that it's going to give a lot of defenses a lot of problems because number one, they have to account for him. So I think it'll open up maybe CeeDee Lamb, and I think you said it before the show or one of the shows. We can move CeeDee Lamb inside a little bit more with Gallup on the outside and then OBJ on the outside. But I think Kellen Moore gets a little happy with that, right? With OBJ on the roster. But ultimately, you have to account for him. But you have to stay with the basics, man. We have to run the ball. And I think if you do that with play action and then throwing the ball to OBJ, I think it makes a difference.
Ram Ramiro, we miss you, man. So you would take a chance on OBJ after his second knee surgery. Do you think he will still be special? Man, I'll let you go first, Harvey, and then I'll clean it up.
So Jerry being Jerry, right? He has to
Yeah,
take a chance, right? I think
yeah,
he said it before too as well. Tony Romo, he spent a lot of years not helping Tony Romo, right? So I think he takes a chance. I think you take the chance. Now you take a chance, right? Is it a multi-year deal or is it a 1 year deal? I think that's the question that everybody wants to know, and why they might not sign OBJ, because I think he's looking for. I think he came out on Twitter or somewhere. He commented that he want wherever he's going, he wants to buy a house. So what does that mean? He wants to
yeah.
stay long term.
It was on a podcast. He actually said that, he's done living in the Airbnbs, and he's lived that rock star lifestyle, which, in the end, I believe he just had his first son, and I don't want to say father time is catching up to OBJ, because we saw him, after his knee surgery last year. I mean, he looked like on pace to actually be the actual Super Bowl MVP with all those plays that he was making single-handedly. I think he scored 2 touchdowns, and if he would have kept on that road and stayed healthy in that game, I think, relatively, I think he would have been the actual Super Bowl MVP.
Yep.
I For the Cowboys, they should take this chance, because number one, you're not giving up any draft capital to get him, right? We heard the Jerry Judy's. I mean, this is all the news that like I said, unfortunately, now we're gonna start coming a little bit fast and furious with topics and whatnot. Not always gonna be live. Sometimes we'll just put out we'll put out, you know, the news that we get, and we'll just get it out to you guys. But we heard Jerry Judy was a part of it, and then they tried settling on Brandon Cooks, but I believe both of them. I think they wanted Brandon Cooks was going to be a second and a fifth round pick, but Brandon Cooks at 18 mil, that's kind of a little bit too much. Jerry Judy, that kind of sounds a little fun. I'm not gonna lie. He's pairing him up with CeeDee Lamb. They're both came out of the same draft class, but getting back to it, uh I think that we saw last year OBJ knows how to bounce back from a knee surgery. I think, like you said, if you bring him into the offense right now, he's just going to help take the pressure off CeeDee Lamb, because OBJ, we saw, I mean, he can run routes. He knows the entire route tree, and he still knows how to go up there and get it if he needs to on his own. Ana Salazar, who do you release if you sign OBJ, man? That's crazy. We were in the pre-lobby and we are talking about this, right? Because we were saying, man, to bring in a player, we're seeing the Cowboys having to let go of a player, and we saw this with Jonathan Hankins, the defensive tackle. The odd man out was Tristan Hill. I think, a lot of people kind of said right away, oh, Semi Fahuku, right, who they drafted with a fifth round pick out of Stanford. He looked good in the preseason. He's a big guy too, man. I believe he's like 6'3", 220, but man, he's fast. He runs he runs pretty fast. I think they clocked him in. He was a full 4 guy in the 40. So, when you look at that, there's so much potential, especially when you see kind of like the projection of what Noah Brown is today for us. Noah Brown has really, like, I think when they drafted him, that he was going to be like a tight end / wide receiver, but
Yep.
Noah Brown he's been a special teams ace. But look at the first couple of games, he's really stepped up. We saw Cooper connect with Noah Brown. We've seen Noah Brown make some good connections with Dak last year, and of course this year too. So I think, when you look at it, you're probably gonna have to look at the defensive backside of it. You know, I think you may have to look at the defensive backside of maybe the odd man being out if you bring it in OBJ, because I think on offense, or maybe on offense, I think we still have an offensive tackle that people are kind of like low on. I think Jason Ball. Um, I haven't even seen him even make the field yet. Have you seen him even on the field? I know he was hyped up a lot when they drafted him.
So Jerry, what about Terrell Basham?
No, I want to keep him, man.
I got you, but how have we been doing without him?
Well, we've been good without him. We really have been doing really good without him. But man, I think you need that, especially when you're going into
Yeah,
the playoffs. So
yeah.
I think it's kind of I think it's one of those situations where I think eventually we probably will see a Josh Ball probably get released when we see a Tyron Smith come in because I mean let's have that conversation real quick, right? Tyron, he comes back healthy. Let's say there's still let's say 5 games left in the season. Are you going to put him at left tackle and slide Tyler Smith, or what would you do with a healthy Tyron Smith?
This is gonna sound crazy, right? But I'd probably do it less. Probably do a swing tackle. I
Yeah,
know
but
it's I know, man. But
Tyron Tyron could be a top 5 left tackle in the league when he's healthy, man.
this is the thing, and I'm gonna go back to the beginning what Jerry said. Availability, right?
Ooh,
Availability. Greg, and we're talking about Gregory and we're talking about Leo Collins.
they
Why
were
why were
they
they were hurt, they were not available. So do we really want to do that with Tyron? He can't move the way he used to. And these guys are getting a lot faster.
Let me ask you
So
this:
for
Are you saying
me,
okay? Are you saying it because you don't want to mess up the continuity that the offensive line has right now?
100%. I think
Wow.
they're doing pretty good. Why would you change anything? And I would probably keep them in reserve in case something did happen. And then obviously bring them in very slowly. If we're up by a lot of games, maybe bring it up a little slow. I know it sounds bad, but until the point where we really need them, I think that's where we should go. Is that going to happen? Probably not. Especially the way you're paying him, the Cowboys won't do that. They'll probably put him at left tackle and put Smith and left guard, and I think that's what we'll see because that's what they want to see.
Ramiro chimed in. Why would you move Tyler Smith? He could not beat out McGovern at guard. You know that is a true statement. I believe that was the talk. Was how he couldn't beat Connor McGovern. But
Greg, yeah,
I'll tell you this. I mean, Connor McGovern has given up a sack so far playing at left guard. But I will say this: this is a great problem that a lot of teams do not have right now in the NFL. A lot of teams you're talking about broken offensive linemen, and you're right now you're talking about a unit that the Cowboys have playing in the right direction. I mean, I think the way it's trending right now, Kellen Moore is starting to realize, hey, let me get Tony more than 5 touches a game, right? Let's give Tony Pollard at least half the workload, and man, it doesn't take very much for Tony to find that hole and take it 60, right? But I will say this: the only reason why I say put Tyler at left guard is I just want to see the future. Is I mean, because I think we're set at left tackle, but just can you imagine him at left guard? Because remember, Zach Martin coming out of Notre Dame, he was an actual tackle himself, and they slid him into right guard, and he's been a perennial All Pro pretty much every year that he's played in the league. So I think it's just one of those things, just to kind of just to be able to understand what you have at either guard or tackle, because if you can imagine what happens if Tyler plays at the highest level at the guard position. We have Tyron, man. It would only propel the running game to move a little bit. We get a little bit more rushing yards. It open up our passing game. I mean, literally, we'd be able to close out every game with the offensive line. That's the only reason I say it, because I think Tyler needed to get the games. He needed to get actual the feel and the speed of the game under control, right? So that's why I say, what do you do with Tyron when you get him back healthy? But these are all great. They're all great questions. They're all great problems to have for any team. Anna Martin was a tackle in college, but most scouts had him playing guard. Yeah, I believe you actually. She's actually completely right. I believe it was because of his arm length, if
yep,
I'm not mistaken. So yeah, you're actually right. And last year he played right tackle too, right? And
yep,
it wasn't the best, man. I think he even got hurt after, what was it,
yeah.
the third game? Yeah, I think he got hurt. I think somebody stepped on him or something like that.
But I think the biggest thing is he's a rookie, right? And I'm not saying he can't handle it, but he's doing so well right now at left tackle. that why would you regret? I'm not going to say he's going to regress, but moving back to learn not a new position because he played there a little bit in the offseason, but to try to learn it again. And then what happened if Tyrone Smith gets hurt? Now he has to move back. That's just one of those things. I mean, number one, I don't want to be the coach making that decision,
Me neither.
right?
Who makes the decision?
But
How about that?
yeah, but at the end of the day, like I just leave him out there. And then if we need Tyrone, then we go from there. But I mean, we'll just have to see how it plays out. Like I said, I don't envy the coaches at all to make that decision when he does come back. But like you said, it's a great problem to have, and I'm pretty sure a lot of teams want to be in the same scenario that we're in.
Oh yeah, and I just got off the East West football podcast, and I was actually talking to a Philly Mike, a Philadelphia Eagles content creator, and I think that was one of the things that he was talking about is, you know what I mean. They're really they have a really good they have something that's working pretty good in their favor, but when you actually look at it, they don't really have these kind of problems. I mean, I think that the Cowboys are really trending in the right direction, and like I said, you bring in OBJ, yeah, we're gonna have to make some hard decisions as far as who stays on the team. When Tyron comes back, do we start him at left tackle or, like you said, a swing, or just keep him on ice? But I do think he needs to get some reps. I think that, especially when we're trying to make a push deep into the playoffs, because I believe this has to be. I have a feeling this has to be a Mike McCarthy year. It's a make or break for Mike McCarthy. He needs to win at least a game in the actual playoffs. So what do we got up ahead? What do we have coming up ahead this week for us, Harvey?
Well, the Green Bay Packers, right? I think Aaron Rodgers in the last 8 games is 5-3,
And
something like that.
he's lost 5 straight games.
Well, he's lost five, but against the Cowboys,
Oh yes, his record overall is 5-3 against Cowboys.
five and
Yes,
three, right?
yeah. It's
So
it's
this is
hard to
one.
count him out. We can't count. We can't come
It,
out.
it it's there. It's like I think Stephen A. Smith says it right. He's a man. Like it's Aaron Rodgers, right? But I think it's a little different. This year's a little different. And the reason I say that is because the DeMarcus Lawrences of the Cowboys know what happened in that playoff game and the last time they played Aaron Rodgers, and I think it's like deep wounded and grinded into his body, right? And he
Yeah.
remembers those. And I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to get out good at all on Sunday. I think this defense is going to come after him. But I don't know. It's Aaron Rodgers. You never know. Their back is against the wall. That's a little dangerous. Is it a trap game? I don't think so. I'm
Mm.
not even worried about it. I don't think it is. But you still got to be cognizant. It's Aaron Rodgers. They have their back to the wall. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, if the playoff picture right now were to end, the Packers are 12th, right? But these teams are off by one game. So yeah, if they win the rest of their games or get close, they could make the playoffs. I know that's far fetched, but it's Aaron Rodgers. Um, but I just honestly, I think this running game is going to run all over the Green Bay Packers. I think that's what they need to do: establish the run. Especially, I don't know what the weather's going to be like at Green Bay, but we'll see. I think if they just run the ball and then do play action off of that, I think that this is an easy game for the Cowboys, to be honest.
How would you grade Tyler Biotish for the first half of the season? Ooh, that's a good question, man. And when I actually go back and I'm actually able to dissect the actual game. I'm gonna go ahead and put him right up there as, because look, okay, so you can easily grade your offensive lineman, right? Because there's 5 of them. Sometimes Terrence Steele has a great game and he's ranked number one. And then of course Zach Barton, it's always Terrence Steele and Zach Barton as far as who had the better game. Because sometimes you'll see Terrence Steele, man. I mean, he does a phenomenal job as far as opening the lanes. The way they use them, the way they implement them, and then you see Zach Martin just completely pancake people. So I will say this: Tyler Biotish. he's currently ranked third, and then there's been some weeks where Tyler just looks amazing, and he's right there. He's ranked third. But for the most part, lately Connor McGovern and Tyler Biotish have been a little bit ahead of Tyler Smith as far as where they fall ranking with the other linemen within our other offensive linemen. What do you think?
The last time I checked, I think Biadasz scored an 88 point something grade from the last game.
On
He's,
PFF?
I mean, yeah, you know how I feel about him. I think McGovern should be the center. That's just my opinion. But I think he has done a great job. I will give him that. He has done a good job. My only thing is, as we get closer to the end of the season and the playoffs, when they put that big nose tackle in front of him, what is he going to do? Because sometimes he does lose those matches. But we'll see. He has gotten better. We will see what happens. But that's also dependent on McGovern has been playing a lot better right next to him, so he gets a little bit of help.
Yeah.
So we will see.
Do you think the Packers will try to be more run oriented to protect Rodgers from the Dallas D? Man, you know what? Last week's game is a great example of that question. And let me just go back to my notes so I don't rush to it, right? Uh, Packers, they're currently 3-6. They lost five straight. The offensive line, believe it or not, on PFF has them ranked currently right now. They're ranked fifth in the entire NFL. So, you're talking about a solid offensive line. But when you look at it, Green Bay offensive line, like I said, they're ranked fifth. Our offensive line is ranked 12. So we're not, we're not that bad. But I will say this: when A Rod is not blitz, he has a completion percentage of 64.8% and a 70% completion percentage when he's kept clean. So when A Rod is under pressure, his completion percentage drops to 45.7%. So I will say this: the last game that was all on him. I'm pretty sure there's parts where Mike Lafleur, right, is scratching his head like, are you the one who's calling the plays? Who's calling the plays? You know what I mean? And at this point, it was you. The Packers weren't supposed to lose to the Detroit Lions, and the Detroit Lions they won. They won. I will say this: they have success when they do start running the ball, and they have two capable running backs who can actually run the ball. Why are they abandoning it? I don't know, but yes, I think that if they want to get things fixed and maybe perhaps make a push into the playoffs, they need to go ahead and rely on that rushing attack a little bit more. I think it works hand in hand. You could be a content creator and just say run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, right? Because obviously we know if you run the ball, it sets up play action, and that's how you get a rhythm on your passing plays, and that's how you're actually able to move and score some points. The only thing I will say this is if A Rod when you do a little bit deeper dive on A Rod, him and Lazard, they have he has a unique connection with Lazard. But I will say this: what I've seen closely on tape is that the Packers and Kendall, one of my fellow hosts on the East West, he said this. He goes, "Man, those Packers don't get great separation." I think he hit it right on the nail because when you go back and you look, they're not able to break free, ahead where Aaron Rodgers can throw ahead. But I will tell you this: if you notice what Alan Lazard does, is he's really good at disguising his push off. And so that's why he's able to catch the ball, but he does a really good push off. And man, I think that's where Anthony Brown really struggles is with when that push off is really hidden. So yes, to answer your question, do you think the Packers will try to be more run oriented? I think that they're going to come ready for this game. Um, and like I said, A Rod is A Rod, and he's hurt. I mean, he's broke our heart so many times. But like you said, Demarcus Lawrence does not forget about this. What are you seeing on offense, Harvey, that we need to address defensively?
For the Green Bay Packers specifically,
Correct.
I would say in order to win this game, because we know the Cowboys defense, I go jumbo. I go jumbo package and try to run the ball against the Dallas Cowboys. There's a reason why they got Hankins. Why do you think that is? Because they were having a hard time stopping the run, especially on that backside stretch of that cut. If that running back had cut to the backside, he was gone. So I think the only way the Green Bay Packers win this game is if they run the ball right up the middle. And I still don't understand why they don't. I think they're averaging like 4.8 yards a carry, if I'm wrong, Jerry.
No,
Somewhere,
you're actually on point.
right? So that why not run the ball? That's the part I don't understand. But if it's me, I'm going jumbo package and I'm running the ball. And not only that, I'm running the ball against Micah Parsons. I'm doubling Micah Parsons with a fullback, and you go straight at him, and that's what I would do because guess what? He's gonna come backside and run you down. I might as well just go at him with two people, block him down, and then go after that. That's the game plan that I would go with, and I would probably use my tight ends a little bit more because you're not going to be able to throw against the secondary. But the tight ends, that's what I would do. Maybe some crossing routes on some play action coming across, and maybe some option routes for the tight ends. I think that's the way you beat the Dallas Cowboy defense in Lambeau.
And it's funny you said that because that's what Aaron Rodgers has been doing is he attacks the middle of the field, especially in the short and intermittent passing downs. I think that's where he has the highest completion percentage. Especially if you go back last week, I mean, there was a very crucial first down that he got. Marcellus Lewis was on a cross, just it was a simple tight end crossing route, and I mean, he literally just came from the top of the screen to the bottom and he hit him right in the money. So, one of those things, like you said, you add that to the rushing attack that they have, right? Because AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones, if they let them go, man, it would take so much load off the shoulders off of A Rod, and then that would allow it to open. So I think that if anything, Cowboys need to take care of the middle on passing downs, and they really need to shut down the passing attack. Because I will say this, A Rod is A Rod, and whether he likes the plays that are being called, he's going to air it out. So I think the best way for the Cowboys to attack this offense defensively is put that pressure because, like I said, what was it when A Rod? Let me see just to make sure. A Rod has a completion percentage of
44,
45.7%.
yeah. Yeah.
45.7% when he's under
Yeah.
pressure. And Cowboys do not deploy a lot of blitz. In fact, it's very rare that they blitz. It's four down linemen pretty much every snap almost on defense.
So Jerry, if you go back to, I haven't gone back past the Lions game, right? But I saw the Lions game and I noticed something about Aaron Rodgers that I don't know if anybody else is paying attention to. Aaron Rodgers back in his career, he's been able to throw off that back foot so accurate. But you look at the Lions game, he's a little bit older, right? He's throwing off that back foot and it's not as accurate as it used to be. So that's another thing. That's his game
That's
style,
game.
gameplay, whatever you want to call it. But it's not. He's getting older, and I think he needs to realize like he can't make the same throws he can. Now it's Aaron Rodgers, but I'm just saying that's the thing that kind of stood out to me was he was throwing off his back foot, and one of those was actually thrown to Hutchinson for the interception.
Yeah, I think it was Hutchinson and then Kirby Joseph, who was a rookie this year. I think Kirby came away with two, and they were all in the middle. But it was weird play calling because at that point, I'm thinking to myself, okay, who's calling the play here? Because it's goal line. They're literally inside their five on both plays, and
But
and you're passing.
But Jerry, this is the thing you need to look at. And I think this is why Aaron Rodgers is a little upset about what's going on and why the receivers we when receivers run their routes, there's different depths that you take different angles at. And if you take the wrong angle when you're throwing that ball, that defender is going to be able to snatch the ball. But if you push and go at a certain angle where that defender cannot get in front of you and get the ball, I think that's kind of a difference that the receivers that had before and they have now, that they don't understand that depth when it's coming to the NFL. I know it sounds kind of weird, but if you look at the tape, you can tell like, hey, maybe you should have ran in a little bit inside, maybe a yard. It would have made a difference.
I,
So we'll just have to see.
I mean, but we've heard people. I mean, we hear announcers talk about it. Is if a corner can get a good jam on the wide receiver, it throws off the whole timing of the route. So you're
100%.
absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Especially you play quarterback. You understand, like, seeing the field. You know where your wide receivers at. So you know, as far let's go ahead and round it off, right? You know, like we already said it. Packers, Aaron Rodgers, more specifically, 5-3 against the Dallas Cowboys. Right now, we're facing a defense. I mean, an offense. We'll talk about the defense tomorrow, but right now, we're talking about an offense right now with the Packers that is averaging 17.1 points a game. So a lot of their yardage is being well, they passed for 2,022 yards. They're averaging about 224 yards passing. They're averaging about 120 yards rushing. So obviously, the rushing is still a part of the game if they're able to complete that much. But you know, when we look at it, how big of a challenge is this for the Dallas Cowboys? Do you feel that the defense we have right now this season, are we going to be able to stop this Packers offense and Aaron Rodgers, who has forever been a pain in our butts, man?
I think this is out coming off the bye and everything, everybody pretty much being healthy for the most part, right?
Okay.
Uh,
Yes.
uh, so this is the thing for me. I'm gonna tell you right now, I think they're gonna shut him down. I think they're gonna shut him down. They're gonna come after Aaron Rodgers. I don't think the receivers can separate from these cornerbacks. I really don't think that's gonna happen. But I think they shut down Aaron Rodgers in that offense, and I think it's an easy win for the Cowboys. They come back from Lambeau Field, 31-14. I'll call it right now. I think that's what the final score is going to be, 31-14.
Man, you're making this good. Hold on, real quick. We got Ram on here. Cowboys have been solid against Titans this year. Packers have Josiah Degura, right, who is a diverse tight end. How would the Cowboys D handle him? Man, honestly, right now, I think with J-Ron Curse, I think he gives you that flexibility, right? And just to add, right, after we go and we do a little bit of homework, it's funny because me and Harvey, we literally we talk it every single day. Um, with J. Ron Curse, I think that he is your big nickel. He's the one who you rely on, especially with tight ends. Playing closer down to the line of scrimmage and being able to stop these tight ends. Uh, Going forward for the future, I think next year, we're going to see a lot of Jabril Cox actually playing in that role. And there is some audio of Jabril Cox saying that that's the role that he wants to play. Is that so? Yeah, the Cowboys have been solid with tight ends this year. But Josiah, he did catch some good. He had some nice balls that he caught in the game against the Lions. So, but he wasn't really their focal point. You saw A-Rod just kind of trying to force it to Alan Lazard a lot. So, I think, like you said, I think we had that luxury of having Trey Diggs on one side. I believe we should have Hooker. I think they're saying we're going to have Hooker and Sam Williams back
Correct.
in this game. So early indications is they're playing. So whenever we have Hooker and we have J. Ron and we have Donovan Wilson out there, I think it's a long day for anybody that tries to pass. And anytime we have Micah and now we have Sam Williams on at the same time playing, it just makes this defense even better. So if anything, I'll go ahead and give my early indication is I think that DQ, right, Dan Quinn, who we need to do a job, we need to do a phenomenal job to keep him with the Cowboys for as long as we can. I think that DQ will have exactly the right. He'll scheme up this defense the right way. I'm pretty sure Micah will get some sacks in this game, just because of the stunts, right? If you see, I think we're stunning at. I think we had the highest stunt rate in the entire league. I think we're stunning 56% of the time, which is insane. From going from such a stale defense. You know what I mean? From past, I don't want to say from a year ago, from 2 seasons ago. So it's an exciting time. Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. He still has the record over us, but overall, go ahead and give me the defense on this one. I like that score, Harvey. I would say I'll go ahead and say it'll be. I think it'll be closer to. I would say we're gonna probably allow 2 touchdowns, right? So we'll go ahead and give the 14 to the Packers, but I think the offense is gonna get going because I don't really see anything on their defense. And again, tomorrow we'll cover their defense. So it's kind of hard for me to give the actual final score. I'll give you the final score tomorrow, but I think right now for sure that offense can probably get 14 points on us.
So the other thing, Jerry, I'll add to that when you're talking about the stunts, a little bit that the Cowboys have had, the issues, um, is the up the middle, right? I think
Yeah,
they need to make sure that when they do stunt, that they cover the middle. Because I think if you add pressure to Aaron Rodgers up the middle, I think that's where he has problems as well. But if you leave that middle wide open and he has to step up and either run or throw it and have clear lanes, that's not going to be good.
it's not. And we already said. I mean, shoot, his completion percentage is at like 80% on that. So, and not only that, but they'd like to implement a lot of running back screens and some wide receiver screens. He's been trying to get Sammy Watkins going, but man, thank God Sammy Watkins wasn't what he was in Clemson, right? But that's gonna do it for us today. There was a little rundown how OBJ would fit into the crowd. I think the way it is the right.
Come home, OBJ. Just
Let's
come
go.
home.
Let's do it, man. Let's make it happen. I'm pretty sure somebody's gonna give up that number 3 for you, man. So that star would look so nice on OBJ, man. I'll tell you this much right now. So we at OBJ, I'll tell you this, that gives us the momentum that we need on offense to complement our defense and oh goodness, I feel bad for every team that is in front of us. And who knows, this could possibly be the year that the Cowboys end the drought. But thank you all for joining in. And stay tuned. Tomorrow we'll be covering the defense and all the breaking news as it comes in. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. Have a good night.